Hello viewers, welcome back. So this is going to be part 4 of our series of bill-wise detail feature in Tally. In the last session, we saw how we can use this method of adjustment called against reference, and we saw 4 use cases where we are going to use the against reference. And in the last session, I did not show you that how we are going to do this in Tally ERP. Like I mentioned, the experience is going to be the same thing, except that you will have some drawback. Like for example, in Tally Prime, we saw the outstanding report, and when we were making the receipt entry or when we wanted to pass a credit note from the report, we used our secret number 3, which is go to, where from go to we were able to quickly go to the voucher also. But in Tally ERP, if you see, you don't have this go to feature, and that's the highlight of our Tally Prime. And people who are using Tally ERP, so if you see, you must have seen my videos that how easy and simple it is for you to work with Tally Prime, and a lot of the help on navigation has been made pretty simple and faster for the user to quickly work on the software. And another important thing that I would want to mention here is that people who are especially using Tally ERP, see, if you are uh, using Tally Prime is very easy, very simple, right? You don't have to really learn anything new except for a couple of things, which as you keep working, you will discover it. The discoverability aspect is also pretty easy and pretty simple in Tally Prime. The important thing that you have to remember is that no more updates or any bug fixes or any new feature will be made available in Tally ERP by Tally company. So all new features, any bug fixes will be provided by Tally in Tally Prime only, right? And it is in fact, it is free of cost for you to upgrade to Tally Prime. So all you have to make sure is that your Tally subscription is live. If your Tally subscription is expired, you have to just renew your subscription, and you can quickly download your Tally Prime. And migration of data is also very, very simple. You really don't have to worry. It is almost now almost 6 months since Tally Prime has been introduced in the market, and there is no issues in case of migration. If people think that, no, what happens to my data in case if I move to Tally Prime, will there be a migration issue? You will not have any migration issue as far as migrating your data from Tally ERP to Tally Prime. Right. So now quickly, let me just walk through the experience of your against reference. I will just use one use case and see. You will notice that there is no difference between you are working on whatever we saw in Tally Prime, and Tally ERP is going to be the same thing. I have in fact replicated all the transactions from whatever we saw in Tally ERP. It is whatever we saw in Tally Prime is there in Tally ERP also. So first, how do we go to Tally outstanding statement? So since I said that you don't have this go to, so you have to go through the menu path. So again, the navigation of menu path between Tally Prime and Tally ERP is the same. So you go to display here, and then you go to statement of accounts, and you will get this outstanding statement. Go to receivables. So again, you are going to get the same information, the same thing that you are seeing. All the values in bold are overdue bills. The value which is in the normal font is your outstanding bill, but it is not due as on date. So again, you will see this 1st of December is your current date. So if you want to see the party wise bill detail, which gives you more clarity on the information, so again, you have on the right hand side, if you see here, you have bill party wise, the same button. Click here, you're going to get the same button. right? So now quickly I'm going to show you one entry where you are receiving, let us say you are receiving against this invoice number 6, 1 lakh 20 is outstanding. You're going to receive the entire amount, so you have to now make a receipt entry. Okay, so normally you don't have this go to for you to quickly go to the voucher entry screen. You will go through your gateway of Tally and your accounting voucher, and then go to your receipt entry and then do it. From this report also you can actually go to the voucher creation screen. Only thing is that make sure that you are exploding the information. Select the particular any voucher, whether it is a sale voucher or a credit note voucher or a receipt voucher, or a payment voucher in case of your payable. So put your cursor there, and like I mentioned, my session on adding voucher, inserting voucher, you can also add a voucher here. So only thing you have to make sure that you put your cursor on any of the vouchers and then press Alt A. Alt A will take you to the voucher creation screen, right? So even though you don't have this go to facility, if you remember this, it becomes much easier for you. So let's do the same way. I'm going to press Alt A. Since my cursor was on sales voucher, it is giving me the voucher type of sale. So I'm going to press F6 for receipt. And let us say I'm receiving this on 1st of December. Okay, enter. And I'm going to say India Mart, enter. So again, the configuration which I discussed about pre-allocation of your bill and allocating of your bill after capturing the amount, the configuration is again same here in Tally ERP also. So you will press F12 configuration, and you will see here this option called pre-allocate bill for payment receipt journal voucher, same caption what we saw in Tally Prime. So it is yes here. That is why I am getting this pre-allocation of the invoices before capturing the amount, right? So you are aware of this now. So I'm going to say India Mart. Then by default, again, you will notice here that Tally has got the cursor on the method of adjustment as against reference. So I'm going to select against reference. You will again see the list of all pending invoices which are due. So you select the respective invoice against which you are receiving the payment. So I'm going to select sale invoice number 6, enter. Okay, so by default it has taken the entire amount. Let us say the entire amount I am receiving, enter, accept. Then you say end of list. You again you put debit in your bank account, enter, accept, right? So this way, using the Alt A, that is the adding of a voucher, you are still able to stay in your outstanding report and then create a voucher. But only thing you notice here, your invoice number 6 is now gone, right? So this is where you can use the adding voucher from the report, and then you can make an entry. Okay, now uh, yeah, so this is where, and then you have this F12 configuration where you have a lot of configuration which basically you can see is show opening amount. So you will see this opening amount, so that in case wherever there is partial uh, payment received, it will show you what is your opening amount, what is your pending amount also, and then there are other configurations which you can explore. Now we will come to today's section on advance receipt. Okay, so advance receipt again, it could be payment received, and also again you have to use the same logic for payment being made also. So if you are receiving payment, let us assume a particular customer. Let's take the same example here. Now let us say uh, this invoice number 11 from India Mart, 1 lakh rupee is outstanding, right? So now for some reason, so you would want an advance from India Mart on future supply. So I had explained briefly about when will you use this method of adjustment of advance. So advance method of adjustment flag, you will select whenever you are receiving advance for future supply, or whenever you are making payment for future purchase. Okay, so and that advance you can also use. I will show you now how you can use setting off against an outstanding bill and also treat an advance amount. So which is where you can do this dual adjustment. That is what I'm going to show you in this example. So 1 lakh is outstanding against invoice number 11, and let's say that party is paying you 1 lakh 50,000, and he says that please adjust this 1 lakh against the pending bill of bill number 11, and 50,000 rupees you treat it as advance amount for my future supply. Okay, so now again I'm going to do this. So from the report itself we will do it, because menu method, all of you know how you can navigate from gateway of tally, accounting, voucher, and do it. So let's do this here. So I'm going to press again shift enter. So it is giving me my sales voucher. I'm putting my cursor on sales voucher, and I'm going to press alt A, and here again I'm going to make a receipt entry. Okay, so this is again I'm receiving this on 112, let's assume. Enter. So I'm going to say India Mart, enter. So first is that I have received 1,50,000. So first I have to adjust whichever way you can do. First, let me adjust the against reference amount. So I'm going to say tally is already taken to against reference. I'm going to say against reference, and then I'm going to say against invoice number 11, you are receiving 1 lakh, but actually you have received an amount of 1,50,000, right? So 1 lakh is adjusted against your full outstanding of your invoice number 11, and the balance 50,000. So this is where, if you notice, why tally is, even after you are selecting the entire thing, why tally is again opening this. Two reasons. One is you would have received for multiple bill payment, so that you can adjust against reference for all those multiple outstanding bill. So in this use case we have received 50,000 advance. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say advance. Okay, and by default when you say advance, tally is going to take your voucher number, which is 5. So if you want, you can retain this, or if you want to know against what advance, so you can set your reference name the way you want. So I can say advance 1. Let's say I am just saying this as advance 1, enter. And now I'm going to say 50,000 rupees is advance that I am receiving. Okay, enter. Break the selection by pressing end of list. So now I've got 1,50,000 from the party. It is against reference, 1 lakh is adjusted, and advance amount of 50,000 is received. So I'm going to debit my bank account. Okay, enter, accept. So now again, if you notice here, my bill number 11 is completely paid off. It is not outstanding. So what happens to this advance amount? Now this advance amount, until and unless you don't supply the material, it is actually your liability. Just in case, let us say tomorrow you are not supplying that material, or the customer says, okay, I don't want that particular material, please return my advance. So that 50,000 is your liability. It is not receivable. That is why, if you notice, the advance amount that you have received against reference number ADV/1 that I had mentioned, that is not reflecting here. So where is it going to reflect? Now it is going to reflect in your payable. So even that, you will get clarity on what are the payables. There could be payable against your purchase invoice. There could be payable of this nature where you would have received advance for future supply. Now how do I see payable? Again, don't worry, remember your secret number 1. See on the right hand side button, you have a button. So we are seeing bills receivable. That is all the money that you are supposed to receive from your customer. So if you want to see your payable, very simple. Just click on F4, or you click here payable, and then you go here. And now if you notice here, apart from all the invoices which are due, which you are supposed to pay, you also have your customer India Mart, where there is this reference called advance 1, which is 50,000, which is the pending amount, 50,000, which is payable by you. So this also adds up to your payable total. Now Let us assume that you are now supplying material against this particular advance. Okay, so let's go through the menu path. I can still do it here, but let's go through the menu path. So I come to gateway of tally, then I come to accounting voucher. Okay, so it is the receipt. So now I'm making a sale. Okay, so enter, and I'm making a sale on, let us say, 5th of December. Okay, so sale bill, my sale voucher number is 17, right? So I'm going to sell to India Mart. Enter my sales ledger. All these you people are comfortable now. Press, if the list of stock item is not getting populated, just press spacebar. You will get the list of all item. And let us say that you are going to supply Dell laptop i7 two numbers to the customer. Okay, enter. So your previously sale price will get auto populated. You can go and change it if you want. Okay, enter. I'm just leaving it as it is. And now is very important, you have to carefully look into it. Okay, so now bill-wise detail is opening, right? So now you have an advance of 50,000, right? So what should be your net outstanding from this party against this sales invoice number 17? So your net outstanding should be 1 lakh only, because already you have received 50,000. So now it is very important for you to first adjust that advance. Okay, and then the balance amount which is outstanding is what you will set it as a new reference, so that tally will tell you your sale bill number 17, the net amount that you have to receive for this invoice is going to be 1 lakh only. So I'm going to select against reference. So by default, tally is taking it to new reference, right? So either I can say new reference and then I can do 1 lakh. Instead of that, better I will do it so that tally will automatically adjust also. So first I'm going to say against reference. Against reference in this case is against advance receipt. Okay, so I'm going to say against reference. Now when I say against reference, it will again show you all the bills that are pending, which are the previous invoices which are pending. Those are all your debit amount. If you notice here, it shows all debit amount. Okay, which means you have to receive. So in this case, it is showing you 50,000 credit, which means you have already received, which is your liability. So now I'm going to reduce this 50,000 from the sale invoice. Enter. Only for outstanding purpose, the invoice value is going to be 1 lakh 50 only. Okay, so here, what is the advance I want to adjust? I will say 50,000 is what I'm going to adjust. Enter. Okay, and now automatically tally, because the balance value, see, the total invoice value is 1,50,000. And notice here, this is what, in one of my previous session I had mentioned, that please go through all the things or written or all the captions that are there for you to understand each thing, because every word has got relevance in every screen of tally for you to get more clarity. So now automatically tally is taken the cursor to new reference, and I'm going to say new reference, and tally is automatically pick up my sales voucher 17. Enter here, and the balance amount of 1 lakh is automatically come here. Okay, enter, accept, enter, enter. Okay, so now I have made a new sales invoice. For this invoice number 17 from India Mart, I am supposed to receive only 1 lakh rupee. So let us see how does my outstanding statement now reflect. Okay, so you go to display, okay, which is my hotkey is D, and then you go to statement of account, hotkey is yes, go to outstanding, hotkey is O, and instead of seeing all my receivable and all those things, let me select my ledger. So L is my ledger, and I'm going to type India Mart, enter. It is giving me the detail. And if you notice here, bill number 17, it says your amount is 1 lakh, which is what you are supposed to receive. Okay, and the pending amount is also 1 lakh. Okay, so this is how especially when you are receiving an advance against future supply, you have to first knock off the advance that you have received, and if there is any balance amount pending after knocking off the advance amount out of your total sale, the balance amount of your total sale is what is going to be your pending invoice for which you have to collect money at a future date, and that is when you go and adjust new reference. Now, what happens? Let us say that I have received an advance of 50,000 and I'm going to now make an invoice for the exact advance amount that I have received, which means I would have received 100% of the amount of my invoice as advance. So, in that case, what happens? In that case, if you see, there is no new reference. I have received advance of 1 lakh. I have accounted that saying advance, and now I am making an invoice against that advance that I have received. Now the invoice value is uh, exactly to the value of the amount that I have received. So I'm going to just knock it off saying against reference, and the entire amount will get knocked off against reference, and there is no question of new reference, because there is no amount pending for that particular invoice because I have already received them in advance. So that is where you manage this advance method of adjustment and set it off against your new invoice, and add a new reference only for the pending amount. Okay. So now we will go to the next option, which is the on account. Okay. So on account, again, I had mentioned that generally on account you will use when you do not have clarity of against which invoice you have to knock off this amount, so that those invoices pending references can be knocked off, so you have no idea. Okay. And this normally happens in the case, uh, majority of the case it is going to happen when you're receiving money from your customer, because when you're making payment to your supplier, you will be knowing, uh, majorly I'm saying, or most of the time, that you are making payment against invoice number 1, 10, 15, example. Okay. So that way it becomes very easy. Or sometimes there'll be a lot of invoices pending, but then your supplier says, no, no, you have to pay me immediately now 1 lakh, right? So you are now again in for you to go and see what are the old bill which is pending, and to knock off that, maybe it might take time, right? So in that case, what you do is, even when you're making payment, instead of setting off against reference, you go and put it on account. Okay. And then make the payment, and then later on you can now go and see, okay, this amount that you have made, against which invoices that you would want to knock off against those invoice. And it is important that you tell your supplier that how have you adjusted this 1 lakh against which pending bill, so that your supplier also is going to set off against those pending bills, so that at a later point in time, when there is a discussion of the amount outstanding on the pending bill, both of you are clear about which are the invoices for which the amount is pending. Okay. So this is how you use your uh, uh, on account. So let us again take an example here. Let's say that we will take the same example of India Mart. So there is one outstanding of 190,000, 1,20,000. So totally 3,55,000 is pending, right? So now let us say the customer is given you 3 lakh. Customer is given you 3 lakh, but is not given you the detail of against which invoice that he has made the payment. He's just given you a lump sum payment. So now you really don't have to wait till your customer comes back and tell you against which invoice, so that you don't have to hold on to that particular entry for the day. So you have received the money, so let's go and make the entry. So let's see what happens and how we handle this on account uh, aspect. So you come to accounting voucher. So let's say on 5th December you are receiving. So I'm pressing F6 for receipt, credit, right? And then I'm going to say India Mart, enter. So now I don't know against which reference that I need to knock it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say on account, and I'm going to say 3 lakh. Okay, enter. So I'm receiving this money, so credit. Okay. So end of list, bank account is debited, capture. So my transaction is completed. I've updated my books of account and I've deposited the check in my bank also. Right now, let's come to the outstanding statement. So I'll go to again D for display, S for statement of account, O for outstanding, L for ledger, India Mart, enter, and now you see all those pending bills are still showing as pending, and it says 3,55,000 rupees is outstanding against each of the bill. But on 5th of December, you have received a payment of 3 lakh rupees. So 355 is outstanding. You have received 3 lakh rupees. The net amount that you are supposed to receive from your customer is going to be 55,000. Even your bill wise detail is going to tell you exact outstanding amount. Only difference here, because you have selected on account is like uh, what do you say, on account is like a suspense bill, you can say suspense reference. So you have put it under suspense reference, so it is now showing you as on account. So all those uh, uh, receipts, payment, even by mistake you go and put a sales or purchase voucher, any voucher wherever the bill wise is opening, if you have by mistake selected on account, everything is going to show here as on account, and later on you have to go into that particular voucher and then correct that according to the proper reference. So now, so it says 3 lakh is on account. So now, let us say that the customer says that you do one thing, you adjust against invoice number 1, invoice number 10, invoice number 15, clear off these three invoices, and whatever is the balance amount, treat that as a part amount against my invoice number 17. Okay, so now what you do is just press shift enter. When you press shift enter on account, it is going to give you your voucher information. So you have to come here. This is an alteration mode that you are going to do. So you have to make sure, depending on security, when we come to security discussion, whether the person has got the option to alter the voucher and what kind of security the Tally provides. We will discuss all that when we come to the chapter on security control. Okay, so now here let's assume that there is no security, so I am able to now go into my previously passed voucher also and go and modify or alter it. Okay, so I'm selecting the receipt voucher in the alteration mode, and now I'm going to adjust those references where I have got information of against which invoices that I'm going to adjust. Okay, so now I come here, enter. Now when you come here, since we have said pre-allocate, we said pre-allocate invoices, yes, right? So when you enter here, it is asking you. Okay, so now here uh, it becomes difficult for you to adjust the part amount in the last. Maybe you will have to take a calculator and enter. Let me just show you. So let us say I'm going to say against reference bill number 1. Okay, against reference again bill number 10, against reference, okay, bill number 15, okay, against reference bill number 17. Okay, so it is showing you the full value, right? So here you have received 3 lakh. Okay, so that means basically you have to reduce 55 from here. Okay, so now these are round figures. It becomes easy for you to mentally calculate. Supposing if there are odd values or odd figures, then it becomes difficult for you to do. Maybe you might have to take a calculator and then do this calculation. So instead of pre-allocation in this case, and you can very easily toggle between pre-allocate and not to pre-allocate frequently as per your requirement. It is not that you have to do only once and after that if you change, what happens? Nothing is going to happen. So instead of me doing this, taking a calculator and then putting the balance amount as part amount, what I will do, let me show you this. So we'll come back. Okay, so let's just come back and then come here again. So I'm going to again come here. So here, because I know there is pre-allocation, you press F12 and then you come here and then say don't pre-allocate. I will enter the amount. To that amount you allow me to set it off against reference, so this becomes much easier. So I've said don't pre-allocate. I said Control A. Now the Billwise screen is not going to open for first selecting the invoice reference to capture the total value. It is reverse now. So India Mart, now it is, I've already entered 3 lakhs, right? Which is, I've put it on account. So now I'm going to enter here. Now it is asking me, now you set it off against the reference that you know. I'm going to say against reference 1, against reference 10, against reference. So because you will see here, up to 3 lakh rupees, Tally will allocate whatever bill you are selecting. The balance amount, if you select in the last invoice, it will automatically get allocated. And the last invoice total outstanding is more than the amount available to you, it will partially set it off against the pending invoice. So that becomes much easier. So 15, again I've taken here against invoice. Notice here, last time when I selected against invoice in the pre-allocation screen, the entire 1 lakh came. Now let's see what happens. I enter here, and now it says, so out of 3 lakh rupees, okay, 2 lakh 55,000 rupees you have already allocated fully against this invoice. Balance amount pending out of 3 lakh is only 45. Since you said against reference, only this much of money can be adjusted against the pending amount of 1 lakh rupees. So it becomes much easier. So 45, enter. Okay, so I can press Control A, right? I have done this, and now if you see here, the pending amount, it is now showing. So all the other bill got knocked off. Your on account is also gone, right? So it says only pending amount is 55. Right now, supposing if you want to see, just in case, let's assume that you want to see uh, what were the total outstanding, and what are the cleared bills, and what are the pending bills. If you want to just get the history of your outstanding of this particular party, right? So what you can do is that, in there is slight difference between Tally ERP and Tally Prime. I will show you in Tally Prime also. So you come to F12 configuration, right? And then uh, post stated, you remember that we had this post stated. So if you want to see post stated, it'll you say yes or no depending on your entry. Then due on, it's okay. Overdue days is also showing okay. Show overdue using bill date not required. Right now, here is where you have this option, where do you want to see only pending bill, or you want to see all bills, or you want to see only overdue bills. So this is where you use this option. I'm going to say show me all bill. Okay. Show order number. So again, orders are not here. Quantity detail is okay. Then you want to see narration, you can say yes or no. Okay. So again, you want to see when debit. So in case where you're buying and selling, you can use this debit bill or credit bill and all those things. Okay. Enter accept. See, now it is going to give you the list of all the bills uh, in the outstanding statement. And it says here opening amount, these are the opening amount. Pending amount is all knocked off, right? And this bill number 17, wherever this pending amount is there, right? So this 1 lakh 55,000 is still pending. Okay, and I have already received an advance against this 50,000 in the party account. It is showing credit, which means I have still not adjusted against this advance. I have still not, though I have received this advance of 50,000 in this particular invoice, I did not knock off. Maybe for my next supply is what I have received the advance. When I do my next invoice, I can adjust this advance also. That's why you are seeing this advance amount 50,000 as credit. Okay, so this is how you manage the other two method of adjustment uh, in Tally, that is advance and on account. Okay, so now let's quickly move to Tally Prime, so that I'll just show you. Right, so now here, let's again come here. So this is the advantage. Now I don't have to go through menu path like the way I did in Tally ERP. I'm just going to press Alt G, and then I'm going to say ledger outstanding. So I want to see outstanding of only one party. If I want to see all receivable, then I'm going to say receivable. It is going to give me all the bills receivable of all the party will come. If I want to see only the outstanding statement of a particular party, then I can select type ledger, then select ledger outstanding. The same information it is going to give you, say India Mart, and then now you are getting this information, right? So we have seen this. So let's again take the same example. So you have what? So you have so this is going to get knocked off. So you still, it says, because we are seeing this report on 1st December, just if people have not seen my previous video, which is part 3 of this billwise detail, it will be a little confusing for you. If you just see the previous one, and then when you are coming back here, you will get more clarity of what is this 50,000 debit, what is this 50,000 credit. And now when I come here to this particular invoice, and when I press shift enter, you have something called post dated, which I had explained in my previous video. Okay, so now, which means literally this invoice balance is going to be 0. So I am supposed to now receive 90 plus 60 plus 45. That is 195 is what I am supposed to receive. Now let us say that out of 195, I am receiving 125. Out of 1,95,000, let us say I'm receiving 125 from my customer. And he is not, same example I'm taking, he is not given me the bill detail. He's just given me a lump sum of 1,25,000, where I am to now account for. So Tally says, don't worry, if you're not clear about against which invoice, use on account and account it. So let's say, let's use it. Now again, if you see here, I can use Alt A here also, because my cursor is in the detailed and my cursor is in the voucher listing, right? So since my cursor is here, I can use Alt A also, but then you also have this Alt G, where you can go and get your receipt voucher. Whichever way you feel you are comfortable, you can go and go into the voucher. So I'm going to select receipt. So I'm already in the receipt. I press Alt A, or I use, let's use go to method. So I'm going to press Alt G, and then I'm going to say create voucher. Okay, and let us say on 5th of December, I am receiving from India Mart. Okay, so again, this is pre-allocate, right? So now you understand this F12 configuration. So I'm going to say that I have received on account, because I don't know against which invoice to be adjusted. I'm going to say 1,25,000. Okay, end of list, bank account. I'm going to just press Control A. Okay, and then let us see what happens. So again, you will see the same information that we saw. Let me just collapse this. Okay, the same information. He says 355 you are supposed to receive, 230, 125 you have already received. Out of this 120, 230, right? So your pending amount is only 120. Okay, so pending amount is 120. You already have a post-dated entry as on 31st, which is 50,000 rupees. So which means 70 is what is the balance that you have to receive. But then what happens? I have now made this as on account, right? So the moment I get the clarity, I'm going to now adjust this the way we just now saw in Tally ERP. See, I'm just showing you in both, so that you realize that there is no major change happened. People who are reluctant to move to Tally Prime. Okay, so now how are we going to adjust once you get the clarity? Again, the same thing, shift enter, right? And then you come to this particular entry, go into this. Okay, remember that there is this pre-allocation. So you press F12, and then you say, no, don't pre-allocate. I will put the amount. Already I put the amount. Now you allow me to allocate accordingly. Control A, right? Enter. Pre-allocate is not going to open. Amount has come, 125 is there. Now I'm going to say against reference. Okay, so first bill against reference, my second bill against reference. Okay, so 35 is also come. So that means 125 is already come against this two invoice reference. So this way it becomes much easier whichever way, pre-allocate or post-allocate, you can decide. So I've done this, Control A, and you will notice that the on account is got now removed and it is adjusted to your respective invoices. Okay, so this is how you manage your uh, advance. In this section we saw how to manage advance. Similarly, you can do this in Tally Prime also. What we saw in Tally ERP, there is no change. Advance, on account. Okay, so we have completed this four method of adjustment: new reference, against reference, advance, and on account. Now, there are a lot of other things that are there in Tally in Billwise detail. So I'll be covering the entire Billwise detail module in this series. Okay, so in the next session we will be seeing that there are certain things that you can manage your outstanding much better. You can do some kind of an automation. So what is that automation that we can do? What is that better control I can have on my outstanding, is what we will see in our next session. So thank you all once again for staying till the end. See you all in the next session. Thank you very much.